For all of Blizzard's many successes, the studio hadn't created a brand new story universe since StarCraft in 1998 until 2014, when the world learned that a new Blizzard intellectual property was on the way, a colorful game called Overwatch. But as it turns out, the history of Overwatch goes back a lot farther than 2014. It's actually the last remains of a more ambitious game. Here's the untold truth of Overwatch.
I made a chronal accelerator. I'm sure I can do this. To all agents of Overwatch.
Something different. World of Warcraft reset the bar for what video games could accomplish. A massively multiplayer online game with a subscription model, Blizzard saw revenue coming in every single month from millions of dedicated players from around the world. So Blizzard decided to make an even bigger MMO. The result was 7 years of development hell. Codenamed Titan, the project was intended to be a colossal achievement spanning multiple genres and appealing to a wide variety of gamers. The gameplay would consist of 2 parts, a daytime section similar to the Sims series of games, and a nighttime section where these ordinary characters will become heroes and accomplish missions together in a first-person shooter style. If that sounds like a bite too big to swallow, that's because it was. Creative director Chris Metzen told GameSpot that,
"Maybe sometimes I look back to Titan and where we got a little squirrely under the weight of this giant idea we were chasing."
After 7 years of trial and error, Blizzard was finally forced to throw in the towel. Overwatch Resurrected. Still, even with Titan formally cancelled, there was a lot of great work that had been done on the game. The nighttime half, in which powerful heroes went on shooter-type missions, had been particularly fun to play and seemed salvageable as a game of its own. From the get-go, they decided the new shooter game would be a smaller project and a much more focused one. A brainstorming session finally got everybody lined up in a single direction. A multiplayer shooter game based not on classes that leveled up in a persistent fashion, but on heroes that would always be the same in every match. The cavalry's here. The whole new project started to come together when one of Titan's classes became the individual character, Tracer. Titan had a class called Jumper with very similar abilities to the sprightly English girl we know now.
We're like, oh, what if this character had a name? Tracer, and what if she had a backstory? She's from the UK, she used to be a test pilot for this group called Overwatch.
The Jumper class became Tracer, and Blizzard designed more heroes around her until the cast featured characters with all sorts of unique backgrounds and looks. Blizzard's commitment to a diverse cast didn't stop at character models either. In an official webcomic, it was revealed that Tracer is gay. In Overwatch, just like in real life, the world is diverse and inclusive, and anyone can be a hero. Not free to play. After Overwatch was finally announced at BlizzCon 2014, people noticed a few qualities. It was multiplayer only, and it was based on a diverse lineup of heroes. It sounded like a multiplayer online battle arena game, and one of the hallmarks of the MOBA genre is that the game itself is free, but the heroes cost money for players to use consistently. Everyone assumed that Overwatch would launch as a free-to-play game. Instead, players just had to buy the game itself, and every hero, stage, and special ability were available immediately. By going with a traditional paid model, it allowed players to experiment with the different characters on different stages without having to pay extra for the privilege. A smash hit. When Blizzard finally launched Overwatch in May 2016, they weren't entirely sure how well it was going to do, but by the end of 2017, Overwatch had sold over 35 million units. Far from being a small-scale side project, Overwatch has become one of the most talked-about shooters of the last 5 years. Shooter games come and go, but Blizzard has continued to support Overwatch by adding new content at no additional charge every few months. In stark contrast to the Call of Duty or Battlefield business model, Overwatch lives by the theory that once you pay for the game, you should get everything. That level of support has kept lapsed players coming back, and long-term players happy. More Overwatch to watch. For all the work that Blizzard did to give each hero their own backstory and personality, very little of that work has made it into the game itself. While the various heroes quip at each other, there's nothing like a conventional narrative. However, Overwatch as a franchise has always been about more than a single game. Blizzard has published a long list of webcomics which feature everything from character pieces to major plot events. In addition, Blizzard releases an animated short every few months, often showcasing a major event for one or more characters.
Brother. No. Oh, my brother is dead.
Overwatch isn't just a game, it's a whole media enterprise. Overwatch League. With the success of Overwatch, the world figured that an esports scene would emerge around it, but Blizzard went the extra mile and decided to create its own studio-run Overwatch League, the first such venture of its kind. Unlike other leagues, not just any team can compete in the Overwatch League. The team must be vetted and approved by Blizzard before obtaining a license to play. This is much closer to established professional sports leagues in the older esports system. And so far, Overwatch League has been a major success. The first week alone drew more than 10 million viewers, and the barrier between physical, traditional sports and esports is beginning to crack.